If you have kids and you told your child, lie, keep lying, I'm going to keep rewarding you. That's what turned the entire world upside down. The entire world has turned darker. And every single year, you see the decline of democracy, and hand in hand with that is the dangers and threats against journalists increasing. That decline started a long time ago, right? But then you add on top of it the threats of technology. So there was a 2018 MIT study that showed lies spread at least 6 times faster than really boring facts. If you lie, it spreads faster. If you incite fear, anger, hate, it spreads faster. It's an algorithmic choice that is driven by money, because the end goal is to keep you scrolling on your device, on the platform. As you keep scrolling, you keep getting fed. It's like the slot machines in the casino. But what that does for you is it literally it pumps you full of toxic sludge, fear, anger, hate. And then simultaneously, these social media companies turn the world upside down, because when you say a lie 1,000,000 times, it becomes a fact. If you don't have facts, you can't have truth. Without truth, you can't have trust. Facts, truth, trust. Without these 3, you can't have a shared reality. You cannot have democracy. We've had 2 kind of contact with AI, with artificial intelligence, because you have to know what this is, right? The rudimentary it was called machine learning, which is repetition, 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 right? When you see it 1,000,000 times, it becomes a fact. It changes what you see, what you think, right? So we haven't done enough to solve the problems of the first AI. This has turned the world upside down from micro to macro. The second, generative AI, which is, if this is exponential lies, this is exponential. And if you listen to the heads of these companies, they themselves say that this requires new laws, but they don't take responsibility for any of the harms that it could bring about. This is a machine. It doesn't have morals. It can't tell the difference between fact and fiction. They call it hallucination. Call it what it is. It lies. It makes up links to stories that don't exist. There's just no incentive to take down the lies. There's no incentive for safety. If you go and look at the number of people working on generative AI and then compare it with the number of people working on safety, you're talking about 100 people in the industry at the start of the year. I think it's regulating tech. It's among the most under-regulated industries globally. When you get on a plane, you know that actually passed safety tests. You walk inside this building, you know that there were building codes that are here. What are the software codes that are there? What are the safety measures to prevent the manipulation of our emotions? There's antitrust issues. There's data privacy issues. There are consumer safety issues. And then very last is content moderation. Everyone focuses, especially in the West, on freedom of speech. This is not a freedom of speech issue. This is a distribution issue. It's the fact that these companies, in their A/B tests, realize that they make more money by spreading lies 6 times faster. That will tear apart any society. And it becomes difficult for journalists to do their jobs. It becomes difficult for governments to actually govern well. If you keep doing this, you reward the worst of human nature. And it leads not only to violence, but in terms of literally rewiring our biology. We're diving into this without any guardrails, and the harms, we'll learn about them after they happen instead of trying to prevent them. This is where governments need to come in and protect their citizens.